everyone, welcome to Zwing-Kinetic Connect. Today I'm joined by Liesel from Creative Joy and Wellness. What is a wellness counsellor exactly? If you can explain to me, what does it involve?
As a wellness counsellor, I focus on my client as a whole person, and I work holistically, and I focus on their overall well-being, therefore supporting their emotional, mental and physical well-being. So within my practice, I create a space where the client feels safe to explore their emotions and challenges they are facing. And I'm also focusing rather on their strengths and building on those strengths that already are in place and they are functioning in, rather than trying to fix them as a person.
Wow, that's interesting. What age ranges do you counsel?
So at my counselling practice, there's no age restriction. There's no right or wrong. You're never too old or never too young. So it differs from the ages of 2 to 82.
What inspired you to start Creative Joy Wellness?
So after I completed my studies, I wanted to specialize in working with children specifically as well, because I've seen the need for supporting children for their optimal wellness and well-being. And also there's a need to support parents and to assist them and help them to support their kids.
How does it differ from traditional counseling?
Wellness counseling differs because with clinical and traditional therapy is more focused on a diagnosis and mental health challenges, whereas I focus on being more supportive and working preventative, and is proactive, working on the holistic and wellness approach of my client, and not making my client feel that they're the problem or they are the diagnosis. We externalize that and step back from that, but just creating a space where they can feel that, I can explore who I really am and to start functioning optimally. But in that, I work within my scope of practice. And there is a space for me as a wellness counsellor and the clinical therapist as well. And in a sense, we must work together and refer clients and patients to each other. I find that's very important. But within my space as a wellness counsellor, I'm quite aware of my scope of practice.
Liesel, can you please share with us a typical example of a session that you would have with your clients?
The typical session, and with the initial intake session, I do a basic screening just to see where the child is experiencing self emotionally and on different wellness and well-being levels. So a typical session will be exploring those emotions, and also on a non-verbal communication level, because it's sometimes challenging for a child to communicate. So I create a safe environment, and it's all about the first few sessions is all about getting to know me and me getting to know the client, and to build trust and a safe space. And from there on, we build in the sessions forward on a therapy counseling plan, and I work in regards to that.
You did explain to us now how your sessions work, but how do you approach a child who struggles to communicate their emotions?
To verbalize emotions is really challenging, even for us as adults. We can't really explain why we are feeling this and why we react in a way. So with my wellness approach and within a creative and play-based approach, I create a space where the client can explore and express their emotions non-verbally. And through that, they can work through challenges without even have to talk about it or go intensive, sit and talk and explain. Because you usually tap into a different part of your brain when you are being creative and in a play mode.
Liesel, are there any common challenges that you see kids facing these days?
Now, these days, what I really see is that children are very anxious, and this presents usually as anger. And then children are labeled at their schools as, difficult, challenging, angry, and there's not enough support for them. But also in that, there's a great need to support children to assist them with emotional regulation. So that's some basic needs that I also see. And there's a lot of pressure on children these days within their schools, in social environment. And that's why they need the optimal support in their well-being.
I agree with that. How did you begin to working with the community?
So I work in collaboration with schools, community centers, and I'm also a manager of Family Works that work multidisciplinary orientated. And that is a broad referral base of different disciplinaries in the mental health and supportive industry. And yes, I do get a lot of referrals from, schools and former clients that also refer, their families and friends to my practice. It's basically on a word by mouth also.
You are now collaborating with Zwing-Kinetic. What impact did you see on the students that uses it?
I'm excited to collaborate and participate with Zwing-Kinetic because I'm a firm believer in finding alternative options to support children that has been diagnosed or not diagnosed, labeled as with ADHD. So these children need a space where they can move. And in schools, we must sit for 40 minutes and focus and concentrate. So children that fidget, it's usually because of the region in their brain that's under-aroused, that's connected with ADHD. And they need, unconsciously, they start moving and fidgeting and simming because that's what they need to activate those parts of the brain. So I think with Zwing-Kinetic, it's a brilliant idea of while the children are busy working, they can unconsciously, consciously move and stimulate those areas of the brain. I do counselling at a school that has implemented the use of Zwing-Kinetic. And I could definitely see a difference in behavior with self-regulation with these clients that have used or are using the Zwing-Kinetic.
While working with these children, what support do you give the parents of these children?
Supporting children with their emotional well-being and emotional wellness, I provide toolkits for them. And what I've seen throughout the years that children struggle to emotional regulate. And it's important and vital to provide them the experience to explore their emotions in a safe space, as I said previously, in non-verbal, through creativity, through movement, through storytelling and play-based activities. And there they can build the resilience and the strength and the confidence to explore that emotions. My advice to parents are always that communicate. Not just talking, but also to listen. Listen to your child. And also live through example. Children learn through examples. Children learn how to self-regulate because they can see parents can self-regulate. And provide a safe space for your child to be able to, communicate with you. Spend time together. Plan activities outside, outdoors. And do something creative together. And that's why it's always important in my practice that I don't just work with a client, I work in the family system to provide that support, that parents don't feel that overwhelmed by, oh, my child is experiencing this challenge. So that's why it's so important to work within that system.
I agree with you that a family setup and support is very important. How do you measure the impact on children?
It's not very tangible to measure. But what I've seen so many times and over the years in my practice is what I see changing within this child can only be seen and experienced like later on within the family system or in the school system. So I see the change in my practice first before parents can see it or acknowledge that. And it's always good to, when I get feedback from teachers and parents alike or caregivers that, oh, wow, now they can see there is a change.
Liesel, you work with many clients. Can you share a success story of a child or children that you worked with?
There are many success stories. And I think especially it's daunting for parents when they come to you and their child has been pre-diagnosed by teachers or, labeled by schools of this child is a challenging problem child. And I've seen many clients come into my practice with these challenges and working within the family system, supporting the parents and the client, the child, I provide hope for them. And I've seen many clients that to look at their, first session and their closing session, the difference, and it's always so wonderful to see that there's always hope. I always tell parents, there's always hope. And I've seen many, many stories like that.
Liesel, I can see that you are passionate about what you do. What are your goals for Creative Joy and Wellness?
I'm very excited about my future of Creative Joy Wellness. And for me, it's just to bring the awareness to people out there and to assist and help, and especially with children, to provide that support that they need so that they can really function optimally. And Creative Joy Wellness slogan is created to be you. And that's really what I want to bring. And I want to expand through, workshops, providing support for teachers, parents in workshops, and my client base as well, and children, adults and teenagers, to provide that support overall.
Liesel, thank you very much for your time. I really enjoyed talking to you. Looking forward to connecting with you soon.